Okay, you can go ahead.
Hi everyone. In this video, you would learn a bit about personal branding. We will be discussing with some of the members of the community here present around what is your personal brand, how do you consciously build your personal brand on a day-to-day? What are the contributors to that brand? And how do you properly preach that brand, particularly for you to be able to get the right value out of those conversations, out of your relationship, and out of your general community? It's important to mention that whether we like it or not, whether you realize it or not, you are building a brand. And you can test it. You can ask people that you live with, people that you work with. If you ask them, what is Peter like? As long as they work with you regularly for a while, they are able to say one or two or three things about Peter and about you. They're able to talk about maybe how quickly you arrive at meetings, or if you're always late, they may be able to say that. If you communicate well, they may be able to say that. If you are caring, they may be able to say that. If you are more focused on projects than individuals, they may be able to say that. But if you test it, there's almost no one who engages with you regularly for a long period of time that would not have an opinion about you, because you have an opinion about many of the people that you are interacting with over a period of time. But a question is, what if everyone around you is saying the same thing? If you go to person A, they said those two things. If you go to person B, they said those two things, those same two things. If you go to person C, they said those same two things. That starts forming something, a brand, how you are perceived within your ecosystem. And it's important that we are conscious about the fact that we are building that brand, whether we like it or not, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. But today's conversation then is, how do you build it effectively? Should you not be paying attention to what you are doing, how you are perceived? And I know this is not the only bit of your brand, but one of the things I will ask us to do is, could you Google your name? For some of you that are lucky that your name is not very common, you likely are the only one with your name. So for example, my name is not very common, Bade Adeshamowo. So if you Google me, you likely, all the information you find will likely be about me, not about some other person. But when people have the names like Matthew Smith, Segun Ajayi, Daniel White, you probably have quite a number of people with that name. One of the things you may want to consciously do is have a way in which you write your name so that when they are searching, it is you they will find. I've seen people use their full first name, middle name, last name, because their middle name is a bit different. I've seen people use maybe initials. Michael B. Johnson is one of those. I've seen people do it in different ways, but starting with just your name, you want to make sure that when they call your name, when they search your name, they likely will find you. Of course, there are places where you need to use your legal name in the way it is in your passport. You have no choice there. But then, what will they find about you when they Google your name, really? And that's the first exercise I will ask the cohort to do today, to say, could you please Google your name? I've allowed people not to have their camera on today, but if you're coming to a session like this, it's part of our rules that these are video-based sessions. And so please bear that in mind. If that rule have not been enforced for a while, it will continue to be enforced moving forward. It's a bit uncomfortable because I can't see the people I'm speaking with right now. But yeah, could you Google your name and tell me what you found? I would wait for you. How many people have Googled their name recently? And when I say recently, within the last 3 months or maybe 6 months. If you have, say you have. If you have not, say you have not. But I would like to hear from you now. It means you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, I just Googled mine.
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I just Googled my name. Turns out there are a lot of people that are bearing the exact same name. I am not using any initials, neither am I using my middle name, just my surname and my first name. And there are a lot of people that go by the exact same in the same arrangement.
All right. Thank you for that. And I'm going to make a comment once everyone has spoken.
Yeah, I Google mine also. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes. What did you find?
Okay.
Well, the first question I asked was,
Okay.
Googled your name before, recently or not? And so tell me about that. But then if you've Googled your name, what did you find?
Yeah, most of the names I'm seeing here, most of the links associated with my name is I can say it's me. Yeah, because and I believe this is because my name has a kind of combination of a botanical name. Let me use that word, a botanical name, a tribal name.
Your name is unique, is what you mean.
It's kind of unique. So
Yeah.
I think that's what makes the name to stand out. Because from this result, I'm saying most of the uh, Peter Pankers that come out, it's me. It's me talking about.
Yeah, but what are you talking about? What are the things that are coming out about you?
Okay.
What does
Okay.
the I think
Let me.
based
Okay.
on
Can I
what?
go ahead and read it out?
No, not necessarily. You can just
Okay.
describe what is showing for your name. Is it what you want to show for your name? What does the internet think about you? Are you consciously building a brand? And what does that brand say? What niche are you building your brand around? Go
Oh,
ahead.
okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Based on the result displayed on my screen, I can tell that okay, Peter Pankers is someone that is into tech. Yeah. But I think I'm more into, to be specific, I'm more into project management. But from what I'm saying, it's not coming out the way I wanted because it's showing me things like web developer, D1 Classic, manager, and the rest. So I can tell that I can say that I really need to do more so that my my tech career, like what will be displayed when people go out there to search my name, or whenever I search my name on the internet, what will come out will be streamlined to what I do professionally. I think that will go a long way in helping my career.
Yeah, and Peter has basically preached the message I'm trying to preach for today. Right. So, Peter, thank you for that. And that's the realization we're hoping everyone will take away from here to say you can craft this. So, pay attention to it. Just to mention that it's not a bad thing that you are used to be a web developer, but now you are more into project management. That's not a bad thing per se. But then don't forget that the world where you are, yes, you start by being a generalist, but you want to become a specialist in something. So it should be clear to say, oh, this is what the specialty of this person is. And that specialty can actually be a technical project manager. So you do some software development, you do some project management, and then you have a specialty around that. So that's not such a bad thing. What may not be so good is that is it well crafted towards what you want the industry to perceive you as, your future interviewers, your future partners, your future co-founders, your future this and that, particularly in the professional sense, but more and more and more, the personal and the professional are coming more and more together, particularly in the age of AI, right? But in your professional sense, are you crafting what that looks like? You may also want to look at the likes of your LinkedIn, for example. What does that look like? A lot of times when employers are trying to employ, they may not Google your name, but they certainly will look at your LinkedIn. If they're looking for you from an expert perspective, they will look at that and figure out who is this person, what is that person's growth trajectory. They'll also look at things like, oh, where did you start from? Where are you now? Have you been growing or have you been stuck at the same level for the last 5 years? That also is a red flag. And there are many things people look at from that. But the key one that you said, which I'm hoping everyone takes away from here, is we need to pay attention to our personal brand. Thank you, Peters. I saw someone's hand up, but they've dropped it. Uh, could you raise your hand again, or you can just unmute and speak?
Good evening, everyone. I was one that raised my hand. Yes,
All right,
I
please go ahead.
saw my I saw my LinkedIn account majorly. That's like the first thing that popped up when I put my phone in. So it was speaking about intern at like my former company, and I'm also like into Python, a computer engineering student. So it's still okay and very current.
Okay, that's good. So your personal brand shows you as you've been an intern working in Python and all. Now, what you may want to start thinking about is what should that brand look like within the next 6 months? What are the kinds of things that should surface on Google when they search for your name? On the Bincom Dev Center program, there are a number of things that are supposed to help you continue to build that personal brand. Not an exhaustive list, but for example, Bincom will ask you to do knowledge development. And when they ask you to do knowledge development, at the moment, everyone is supposed to do at least once a month. You will be asked to record something called public artifact and post that on your social media if you want to, but at least you need to get approval for the public artifact. And at the same time, when you do your KD, it will be live streamed to an audience on YouTube with your name attached to it and so on. So therefore, you are building something there. From time to time, you get an opportunity to run things like community events. We do community events on both physical community events and also some virtual online community event meetups. And you get an opportunity to either be a host or maybe even a speaker at some of those community events. And all of that helps you to start showing what it is that you're doing in the Python industry. They also would ask you to do external events. And with external event, they ask you to do an external event and you need to attend at least one every month minimum. And that can also be virtual, although we are encouraging more physical than virtual external events. And when you do some of those external events, we're encouraging you to write a summary. What did you learn? What was your takeaway? Who did you meet? Post it on LinkedIn, tag them, take pictures with them, take screenshots of the presentation, take screenshots of yourself being in that session, and put that up as part of what it is that you are doing at the moment. Because those things may not be useful today, but it may be useful in 3 months. It may be useful in 6 months. Certainly in 2 years' time, when somebody is looking at your profile, they see that, oh, this is where this person is 2 years ago. This is where they are now. I can see a trajectory of growth. Right. So those are the kinds of things that you may want to then make sure that you are generating the right artifacts according to what you want to be perceived as. You want to be perceived as an expert in your industry. You want to be perceived as an expert in your space. You want to be perceived as a fast, you grew very fast in your career, in your journey. Those are kinds of things that you can sort of craft such that when somebody looks at it, and they will look at it, whether you do it or not, they will look at it. you know what is coming out for you at that point. Does that help?
Yes.
All right, then. So who's next? Have you searched for yourself before? I haven't had the answer to that question. Who's talking next? And I'm hoping everyone has done the exercise by now.
Yes, I searched mine. Well, I've searched mine before.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
When last did you search for yourself? Just curious.
I'll say maybe around January this year, but
Okay. That's good. Why did you do so, if I may ask?
just to just to see updates on the new versions of Michael Adegoke's out there, because I think the first time Facebook became popular when I was really young, I searched my name and I saw 38 results. So since that time, I've always just once in a while just checked to see any new updates.
Hmm. There are a couple of Facebook groups. Before you tell us about your own brand and what you saw about yourself, there are a couple of Facebook groups where people that have very common name like Michael Smiths or those kinds of names. So they create a group for themselves. So if you want to, you may want to search and see if there are similar groups for your own type of name. I know there's a group for I can't remember the name now. I'm sure it will come back to me. But if you check on Facebook, there are a number of those kinds of groups where names that are very popular, name, first name, surname, and then they all join in a group, all of them different ages, different continents, different walks of life, but they share the same name. Yeah. But what did you find about yourself in that search, Michael?
I did not see anything, to be honest,
Oh wow.
because
So that
there are a lot. I saw the actor Michael, the athlete Michael, the different types. So before, I don't know, it's going to be it's really saturated. That's what I have to say.
so you need to figure out how you want to be distinct. You want to be unique. You can pick a nickname. You can use combination of your middle name and a few other options, but you want people to be able to find you somehow. So you need to think about that in the way that you go. But more important, and this is a correction I want to make, when you were searching for yourself in January, you were a spectator. You were spectating other Michaels. You should have been thinking about yourself to say, how do I surface? Maybe, what team are you, by the way?
Infrastructure and
What team are you? What knowledge track are you in Bincom?
infrastructure and DevOps.
Okay, so maybe you want to be Michael DevOps or something like that. I'm not saying do that because DevOps itself is going to change within the next 10 years, just to say. So maybe that's not a permanent brand, but that may even be a brand that you want to use for now to get to your next level. So that's also a strategy you may want to take. My point is, as at then, when you were Googling yourself, you were just spectating other Michaels. What you want to do this time is when you're Googling yourself to say, how do I start carving a niche for myself? How do I start becoming a Michael to reckon with in my subject matter of expertise? I'm not saying it will happen overnight. I'm saying that you need to start being conscious about it. So the same way you were conscious about how many Michaels of my name are, now be conscious about how much of me is out there that people can relate with as regards my brand, and how much of that can you shape in terms of the shape of the perception. In the age we are today, and that age is going away really fast with the advent of AI, we are in the social media age. We would expect any professional to have LinkedIn, for example. I say that, I mean, in this age, as of today, when we are talking about this 2025, you never know what new thing will come out later. But as of 2025, if you're a professional, active, and you're not retired, we expect you have a LinkedIn profile. It's expected. It's not optional. And so if you're struggling with even keeping a LinkedIn profile showing what it is that you've done, but then if you want to, you may also want to look at other social media, Twitter, maybe even TikTok, maybe it's Instagram, maybe, but just continue crafting. And I'm not saying you need to become an influencer, which is now a profession in 2025. People That's what they do. They are influencers. That's all they do. I'm not saying you need to become that, but just be clear that your social media forms a part of that brand in itself. Your presence in the industry also forms part of that brand. If they are listing out DevOps engineer in Nigeria, will your name come up? What about DevOps engineer in Yaba? Will your name come up? What about DevOps engineer in your class of 50? Will your name come up? What about DevOps engineer in a group of 10? Will your name come up? The point I'm making is that does your immediate circle even understand what it is that you do and the level of expertise that you have already or the level of expertise that you are building? You can craft it, you can shape it. I'm not saying also fake it till you make it, because sometimes people do that and all. I'm saying that be conscious of what it is that you're doing and be strategic in the way that you would do it. All right, who's next? Michael, was I helpful?
Yes, it was very helpful. Thank you very much.
We're expecting everyone to speak, so who's next?
Okay, when I searched for my name, I saw my Instagram profile and Twitter profile. So it could just basically be my last post. That was what was on Google for the two platforms. So no description about me as a person or any of that.
Okay, so what are some things that you can do differently based on some of the conversations we've had so far? Let me see if you've been listening.
I'll try and get more active, I guess. Get more active in, niching down to what I'm really into and the description around my name. So I'll have to be engaging in more communities and stuff like that.
Yes, so that's part of what you may want to do, but it sounds like the first thing you want to do is even, because I know you are in marketing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
To craft your description, make sure the right keywords are surfacing. Make sure that your name is associated with some of the expert skill you are building or expert skill you already have. Make sure that when people are searching for you, that's what will show up. Now, you talked about the fact that when I searched, the first thing I popped up was your Instagram, and then people can go to your public Instagram, for example. What does that look like? Is that something you are proud of? And it's fine not to be proud of it today, but then is that something you would work on to say, okay, fine, what are the things I can do? Now, I'm not saying you have to be posting every day. Maybe you should be, because you're a digital marketer yourself, so maybe you should be. But I'm saying for everyone else. But even if it's a few times a year that you post, it should sort of sum up about you. Please bear in mind that a number of employers will search about you. They will Google your name, they will search your name, they will look at your Instagram, social media, and all of that. You can argue whether it is ethical or not ethical. It happens. Just be aware and manage it. The likes of the US government have always been collecting people's social media for years, right? And the US has now even mandated it to say for student visa, they will go check your Instagram, they'll go check your social media generally. They are particularly trying to weed out people that go to school in the US and go and protest what is not their business as far as I'm concerned. But the long and short of it is they are going to be looking out for those things more often. And many other countries are also following. And so if you are thinking about even showing yourself as a global talent, which is one of the things we're encouraging on this session, you will find that you want to pay attention. But I've focused a lot on social media so far. Let me talk about your assignments, which you will need to do, and we're all going to be discussing that together during the next session. is that part of your brand is also you being able to pitch yourself. You do that regularly at the point when you go for interviews, because they will say, tell me about yourself. And then within a 1 minute or 2 minutes, you need to sort of communicate a couple of things that are important to you vis-a-vis that role that you're interviewing for. But you do it in other places too. If you attend an event and you're trying to meet other people, they will ask you, what do you do? It's a common question. I'm trying to practice now not to be asking that question because everyone expects that question, right? So I'm practicing things like what's new with you and a few other questions that you can ask rather than what do you do as the icebreaker. But it's still a common question. I still ask, what do you do, even in those kinds of networking events? When you ask, what do you do? You've got 20 seconds, 10 seconds to explain what you do. What do you say in that kind of situation? Does it align with what it is that you're trying to do? What about the likes of your cover letter? What about the likes of even on LinkedIn? At your level, for most people that are beginners or intermediate, you are recommended to get what's it called, on endorsement. I think that's what it's called on LinkedIn, for example. So who are the kinds of people endorsing you? It helps, right? It's like a review that happens on LinkedIn. I'm not sure if it's called endorsement. Someone can help me with the actual name for it now on LinkedIn. What are people saying about you is all I'm saying there. So what you say about yourself matters, but what people say about you matters as well. So all of these are part of your brand. And that's what I want you to now think about during this for the next 1 week. And then we're going to be meeting again. I'm going to be taking the session next week, Friday. And for that session next Friday, we're going to be asking you to pitch yourself. There are lots of information online. So there's a lot. If you just Google personal branding, pitching myself, elevator pitch, you'll find a lot of guides, a lot of information and all. But just spend a few minutes, maybe hours, practicing, a few minutes, maybe hours, consciously saying, what do I want to craft for myself, for people to pay attention to me? I'm going to pause for questions in a moment, but want to just make sure I touched on a few other points before we pause for question. And those points are, it's important in terms of your personal brand. It's important that you pay attention to it. You need to make sure also that even the likes of organization you choose to work with, organization you choose to work for and all, your personal brand sort of aligns with it. Not that the organization is going to the west, but then you are trying to go to the east. You need to think about that. You need to also start mapping who are the stakeholders around you. There's the immediate circle, your family and all. There's your professional circle, and there are different layers to that. And different people may know different parts of you, but all of it should sum, all of those parts should sum up to be a sum of a whole. Right? Some of the parts should become like a whole in that sense, and be authentic. Be your authentic self. You can decide to pretend. One of the ones I say to people is around the field of IT, to say, if you want to be in the field of IT, whether the technical side or the business side of IT, you have to be passionate about tech. Because if you are not passionate about tech and we are asking you to do all of these things that we are talking about, it may be daunting. But if you were passionate and this is actually a field for you because you're passionate, it may become something you enjoy doing. But you already find yourself here, whether you were passionate or you were not passionate, you find yourself where you are today. It makes sense to do it to the very best of your ability. Don't just focus on learning skills. Don't just focus on building experience. We're saying build your exposure as well. Be conscious about it. Think about some of the points I've made, and I've not exhausted the topic in any way. What I've just done is sown a seed which I hope you would then go look into and take a decision. What do I need to do next? What can I do? And if you need some support, you have access to the Slack group where you are able to ask questions. And if you're part of the Emigr8 community, you are able to ask questions on the Emigr8 community where we are there to support each other as regards our personal growth. Our objective is to help each one of us become globally attractive, because in being globally attractive, we're able to be the very best of ourselves. And as talents that we are, you are able to then go from where you are to where you want to be, whether in your career or physically in terms of the country you choose to stay or reside. I hope this was helpful. I'll pause for questions at this point. Any questions?
Okay, sir. Yeah, I think I do have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Okay, sir. Are there specific platforms or tools that you can use in order to help you grow your personal brand or your reputation?
Yeah, quite a number of them. So
Okay.
I could talk about PR, for example, which is public relations. If I was talking to more like experts and all, you may want to do things like appear in newspapers, and there are public relation firms that help people get into the likes of the papers. For example, whether local media, international media. If you're a leader in your field, naturally people want to speak to you about your subject matter of expertise. Sometimes it happens naturally. Most times it doesn't. It has to actually be crafted. And so there are like PR agencies and so on that you can work with to help you get that done, particularly for busy professionals. There are ways to do it yourself. You can pitch yourself to newspapers. There are ways in which you can write a press release and share it out there. But whatever you're sharing has to be newsworthy. There has to be a reason why people should care to listen to what it is that you're talking about. You will look at things like thought leadership. To say you want to start showing thought leadership, you want to be one of the people reshaping your industry. I use Agile as an example a lot because I hope many of you are aware that Agile was just a bunch of project managers who were like, this is nonsense that we're doing. There must be a better way. And they went, and I believe it was in Canada, about less than 20 of them. And over a weekend, they came up with the Agile Manifesto. And that Agile Manifesto is what the entire world has decided now that it's the better way of managing projects. Are you that kind of leader? And their name, if you go on agilemanifesto.com or something, you'll find the names of those people there. What are you doing in your industry? That's what I will be discussing with you if you're at expert level. But at the beginner to intermediate level, what you want to do is you want to earn your place in that room. You want to be one of the people invited for those kinds of sessions to say, oh, we want to change, we want to set policy for our industry. I was recently invited for outsourcing Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria, for those that don't know. I was recently invited to be part of policy making for like an outsourcing agency, not agency. What's it called? Anyway, some sort of policy around outsourcing from Nigeria to the world. I was invited to be on that kind of panel, kind of thing, because of what I've done in the space, in the industry, and all. So that's where you are going. But where you want to start from is start from ground one. Don't say that I have to wait till when I become before I start doing all of those kind of things. What you want to do is to consciously say, what can I do? What steps can I take? And some of those may even cost money, and you may not even want to spend that money today, but you can spend the time by just, rather than doing another 30 minutes of social media doom scrolling, spend that 30 minutes crafting your own journey. And you now have AI assistants for free. Some of those things where experts will have had to do, your AI assistant can help you do it today, because your AI assistant has your context, understands some of the questions you've asked. Hopefully you were asking questions about your industry. And if you say, craft for me a pitch based on everything you know about me, guess what? It would actually do something for you that will be pretty good, and it will be a good start. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
We've got 4 more minutes. Any more questions?
Yes, I have a question. Good evening, sir.
Good evening,
I
ma'am.
want to ask, you know what? Most of us are still very young. And once we have built our personal brand, some things from the past to could come and just disrupt everything we've done. So how do we go from there? Because we're still young and we make a lot of mistakes. Yes.
That's fine. Making mistake is not a problem, and people recognize that. And so I'm fine. I would even like to know your mistakes because I would see growth from some of those mistakes. There are some mistakes I hope you've made so that it's not on a bigger stage you make that kind of mistake because you've learned. So don't be ashamed of your mistakes. And one of the ways I talk to people that I mentor and coach is sometimes people don't want to put themselves out there because they are not sure if I'm doing the correct thing or not. Because you're at beginner level, right? Put yourself out there. Worst case, a bunch of trolls will come and say, no, you've not done it correctly. Do it this way. Don't you know? And all of that. Chain it, you've learned, right? And say thank you. Thank you for the feedback. Oh, I'm going to go and research it. Can you tell me more about this? Can you teach me? Can you show me? All of that then shows growth because the way you responded to that criticism also matters in terms of the way you are shaping yourself. I don't know if I'm answering your question, but all I'm saying is own it, own that mistake. And if it's something crazy that you don't want the world to see, the good news is in 2025, although the internet never forgets, and the truth is the internet never forgets, there are ways in which for many European and Western jurisdiction, you can suppress some things you don't want the world to see. You can get Google to delete things. There are ways in which you can do that today. The internet still never forgets. So please don't put anything out there you don't want the world to see. But there are ways in which you can sort of scrub some of those off the internet. So if they search for you, they may not find those things, except they are really, really searching. And if they are really, really searching at that point, there's nothing you can do. You have to own it and make sure you do better. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Last question.
Okay, so my question is, how do you know when you're ready to take on like a real life project? Like you've been in the tutorial cycle, um, going through tutorials and going through lessons, going through internships. So how do you know? How do you gain the confidence, and how do you know you're confident enough to handle a real client's project, a real project?
So there's a long answer to that, but are you a member of Bincom Dev Center?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so Bincom will give you a real life project from the month after you finish your Bincom Academy for you to handle. That's the structure that we do. So once you do your first Bincom Academy, you are ready to handle something that a real life customer will need. That's the short form answer for you. The longer form answer is be careful not to be Captain Local Host. Even if you didn't have the opportunity within Bincom, you could have started something yourself. Regardless of what your knowledge track is, you can build something for yourself, build a startup is what I'm saying. And so with just the 2 days of knowledge that you have, you can actually start doing stuff for people, right? You can start with friends. You can say, don't pay me any money and all. It can even be for yourself, for your own startup, but the tutorials you've done is enough. Start doing things. And if you don't yet have the right opportunity to do them, create something for yourself. Think of an idea that you feel like people will like, and then go build it and see how well people like it. If they don't like it, fine, you've learned. If they like it, maybe you've stumbled on the next $1 billion idea. Does that help?
Yes, it helps. Thank you very
All right.
much.
What team are you in, Bincom?
Infrastructure slash DevOps apprenticeship.
Oh, okay then. Not a problem. So usually by the time you finish your Bincom Academy, I believe for infrastructure, there are 2 Bincom Academy classes you have to go through. So that's 2 months. They usually will start giving you actual projects to start handling at that point in time. If that is not happening, please speak with your team lead so that they can deal with why that is not happening. It may be they are not yet comfortable giving you projects, and we need to figure out why so it is solved for you as quickly as possible. We want you to handle real life projects because that's the way you build capacity and you grow. Don't forget your assignment, everyone. You're going to be doing pitch practice next week. You're going to be pitching yourself. You're going to all be on video. So please, and also note that for this session, we expect you to be on video. And so don't come to this session if you don't want to be on video. Your being on video is part of your brand, right? Don't figure out what kind of background you would have. And even if your house is looking very, very rough, find a small part of your house or find a blanket or something as background, or use virtual background and so on. Make sure your lighting is good. Make sure all of that is good, because you are representing yourself. Wishing you the very best. Thank you. Peter, I would like
thank you very
feedback
much.
as regards the session. So if you can please ask for feedback, not here on Slack or on the community as well, as regards the session. I would like feedback. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your insight with us. I believe we've learned a couple of new things that we need to integrate into our tech career journey. Thank you guys for joining today's session. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Yeah, let's enjoy the weekend, and we should not forget the assignment given to us. We need to prepare our pitch so that we come and present our pitch next week, Friday. So I'm looking forward to seeing all of you next week, Friday. Thank you, guys. Have a lovely day. Yeah, and if you have a question regarding today's session, well, you can reach out to Mr. Badi on Slack. You can just put up your questions on Slack and then tag Mr. Badi as well. Yeah, you'll be able to see it and answer your question. Thank you.